All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in here to BroMedia Podcast. I'm Lazarus. I'm your co-founder and founder of the channel here. I'm Lazarus again. I am a entrepreneur. I'm a guitarist. I'm a family man. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I am just a normal Joe, just like everybody else. We designed BroMedia Podcast here to be a easygoing show that we talk about everyday topics that are happening around the world on a down to earth level. No polarizing, not attacking, but real talk here. So I appreciate you guys jumping in here and finding us. And if you haven't liked the channel, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment down in the comment box below. Let us know how you're doing today. We definitely want to engage with you. And I'll pass it over here to my co-founder, Ryan.
What up, everybody? Thanks, Laz, for the intro. Yeah, please like and subscribe. I think it's so important. And I find myself doing it for other people on YouTube that I watch and kind of admire and follow. Like, oh, I've been watching this guy for 10 years and I don't even like the page and I haven't subscribed. Now I know what it feels like. So you're helping us out. We're a real company. Laz and I started this business. We have a real LLC together with an address and the whole thing. Like we got things happening. So it's a real business and we really appreciate it. We made that official and we decided to really launch the idea. And I couldn't be happier to be here with you. As always, just talking about day in, day out stuff, our lives, the lives of others, just triumphs, victories, highs and lows. We do live podcasts every other Monday.
That's right.
And on Wednesdays, today's Wednesday, we're doing a recorded one so we can get the shorts and stuff that you guys see on YouTube broken up into small clips where most people's attention spans are at these days, and that's totally fine. I'm the same way. I pretty much hang on there for about 20 minutes and then I'm checking out. So our podcasts tend to go about an hour in their full duration, and those are available on our channel. This episode will be available in that format as well. Check out Monday's live broadcast. I think we finally got it right, dude.
Yep.
Our audio levels are great. The
quality is better.
Yeah. All the cameras started really looking good.
So again, two normal Joes trying to figure this out so that we can get our conversations out there at a good listening quality along with like the visual quality also. You don't want to look at something and be like, oh, this is junk. And then you just scroll on by. Thank you again for finding us here.
For sure. I think as musicians, especially, it's
like, oh yeah,
it doesn't sound good. It's really hard to, but when we first started, I would play it back and listen and I was like, oh, it's great, but I hate the way it sounds. It sounds crazy, or I'm super quiet or super loud or there's buzzing and stuff like that. So I'm glad to have that figured out. And watch tonight. We didn't catch something, and it's gonna be buzzing tomorrow.
It better not.
Whatever. So tell me about your day, man.
Yeah. So I'll give you highs and lows about the day. I know we just spoke the other day and kind of gave like our highs and lows of the last 2 weeks, but high today. That work wasn't overload. It was actually nice. I had a lot of downtime to actually get things done. Typically my work day is jam packed with phone calls and things of that nature. But today was just handle paperwork, get through the task, do some follow-ups. And that was basically my day. As far as negatives, I think I would want to say, just like everybody else, I wish there was more time in the day, by the time I looked at the clock, it was, it was starting to creep up to 7. That's when you messaged me, and just time just flew by today. I wish there was more time, or actually, I wish that time would slow down so that we're not constantly watching the minute by minute play.
It's crazy, right? So, like we created a calendar together so we could make sure we kind of have an accountability partner where we know that on every other Mondays we're going to do lives and every Wednesdays we're going to do this. I mean, we're getting really great traction and people are listening and interested, and it's really been really cool to see. But like I said, time goes by so fast. I'm working different hours of the day. Today I was up at 5 and on site by 6, and the day just flew by.
Yep.
And that's why caught it at 7. I was like, hey, are we still good for tonight? Maybe we move it to 7. Or move it to 8. So yeah, I mean, by the time that I blinked and finished submitting all the paperwork to the state and for all the things that I've been doing with my business, it was 7 o'clock. And then had to make
Yep.
dinner, and my wife and I are into watching the Peaky Blinders right now. So after this is over, I got to catch up on a few episodes,
There you go.
and start all over again tomorrow. 4:30, alarm going off.
So what's your high and low for today or yesterday?
Um, well, definitely today. Like, I'm celebrating. Normally, I'll wait till the weekends to have a little vino, but uh, I got all of my paperwork submitted for the business
There you
stuff that
go.
I'm taking it to the next level for. The state stuff, the contractor licensing, all that stuff, all those fees, all those checks have been written. Everything is good. Just got that done tonight, so that was a huge victory. Um, that's something that, I've wanted to do that part of the business for a really long time, to expand and be able to go down different avenues. And I had to have those credentials because you won't show up on the map if you don't have them.
Yep.
Um, you don't want to be a Craigslist vendor, you want to be a real legit
Yep.
vendor that offers those things. So, um, what else, man? Not really any lows. I'm not gonna acknowledge the lows.
There you
I
go.
feel like,
Let's stay positive.
yeah. I mean, there's some gnarly stuff happening in the media. Uh, One thing that I did tonight, I saw a little short before I was came in here, was I saw that, and this was something I didn't bring up to you. I was going to talk about, but Alexas uh, now have the technology to pinpoint you anywhere in your house, and it knows where you're at. And I don't like that. We're an automation company. I love automation. So, yeah, a lot of my devices and automation can go through Alexa. They can go through, like Z Wave and the other things that are available. So tonight, I told my wife, I was like, "Hey, I'm taking Alexa out of your room, or out of our room, and I'm just gonna get a traditional alarm clock." And she's like, "Why?" And I told her, I was like, "I'm tired of this invasion of privacy stuff. Like, Ring is being sued, because you're able to. It's not just because they can spy on your front door. Ring has an application built into it that allows third parties to access what's on the internet on that device. And so you can't see your
Jeez.
camera unless it's on your network.
Right.
And so basically it's a backdoor in. Now I've got my computer on, I've got my bank accounts and stuff up. And so whoever can be on my network can see what I'm doing on my network. And it's through the applications like Ring and stuff. So I always try to recommend people on a security standpoint, try to stay within the compliance, the NDAA compliancy, which is basically kind of built here, made here, or it's built in a facility that's not uh, party to China, honestly, and logistics and stuff. Hanwha, stay away from all that stuff. Um, I could go down a big rabbit hole, but
No,
it's just
I'm
where we
glad
are.
you bring that up because we've talked about privacy and how much we're willing to give up for convenience in this world, and I feel like our contract between companies nowadays is very invasive, and we're so quick to skip the language, the contract language, just to
Yeah.
hit accept for that convenience for us to have. Hey,
Yeah.
everybody
Nobody
has
reads that.
everybody
Yeah.
has a Ring. I have a Ring doorbell, but I'm actually looking forward to upgrading my security system via your product that you sell, which is a full
Yeah.
network,
Yeah.
security system that's enclosed and not
Yeah.
accessible to anybody. I'm actually looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
Yeah,
So
we make sure that the systems we use are NDAA compliant. Or, if you don't want to go with that type of system, there's other companies out there like Eufy, that make solid stuff. I've got a Eufy camera on the side yard. I replaced one of my spotlights, and just so I could show people the differences between our cameras and what our camera systems do
yeah,
versus the day in day out. I have a doorbell camera by Unify or Ubiquity, which my whole network is Ubiquity. So I have a pretty elaborate system here at the house. And then I also have a Eufy doorbell door lock that's thumbprint, and they do all kinds of cool stuff. But I try things out before I offer them because I want to make sure they work. I don't want to sell you something that's trash or that I haven't tried,
right.
because then you'll be bummed and you're like, "Well, I thought you said this was good," And I can tell you, I have this in my house. I like it. Or I have this in my house. I like it, except it doesn't do everything. So that's why I also have this.
Yep.
So I'm a information guy that just happens to, sell the product too, but I'm not a salesman. I'm a technician that learned how to sell because it's my business.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, I'm nerd. I'm a nerd. I I love that you're also a nerd and that you do building fuse panels and stuff like that for your Bronco. Like I was like, yeah, this is why we're friends. You're like
Yeah, we're just
you're
two.
making it happen. Yeah.
Yeah, we're two grown adults that just love electronics and
Yeah.
computers and even video games. We've talked about video games before, but we won't go down that road because we will definitely go down a road.
Yeah.
Talk to video games. Maybe for a live stream, we'll talk topics on video games because the video game world right now is huge right now, and we can definitely talk about what's going on out there. But I know we have 9 topics that we were going to talk about. I think we're going to transition over to that. And for you guys watching, this is something new that we're going to try. We're going to share screen here. We're on X, and obviously the whole world's on X right now. There's a lot of things happening in the world, and we just need to be aware of what's going on. Not so much that pick a side or whatever, but it's better to know what's going on and form an opinion, and especially have a discussion on it. And that's why we're bringing it up. We're trying to start discussions because I think some of these topics need to be talked about. So anything before we switch over, Ryan?
No, man, let's do it.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen here, so bear a second.
I was actually going to log in my X. Funny, for the longest time, I didn't understand how to use Twitter when it was Twitter, and now it's like it's pretty relevant. It's a pretty relevant deal.
So I just want to make sure you hear this. Let me know if you hear it.
Who are scouring social media.
Can you hear it?
I hear it. Yeah, it was kind of loud, but I'm not sure how it will translate.
All right, so it sounds good over here. I'm gonna go ahead and play this. Basically, I'm gonna set it up. Obviously, Elon Musk shared this. There is a lot happening in other countries where if you share something, some online material online, and you're not from their country. So let's say I'm in the U.S. I post something, they don't like it. They want to extradite me for posting something that they deem offensive or against. I'm not even from the UK, so I don't know what kind of weird law they might have out there. So here in the United States, we have something called freedom of speech. We can say anything. We can basically say anything against the government, and the government cannot censor us or jail us for saying stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share this clip, and then we'll give our opinion.
Hatred involves publishing or distributing material which is insulting or abusive, which is intended to or likely to start racial hatred. So if you retweet that, then you're republishing that, and then potentially you're committing that offense. And we do have dedicated police officers who are scouring social media. Their job is to look for this material and then follow up with identification arrests and so forth. So it's a really, really serious. People might think they're not doing anything harmful. They are, and the consequences will be visited upon them.
All right, there it is. So, Ryan, I'll let you lead this one. Give us your thoughts. You just heard what the man just said. Go.
Yeah, it's not here. It's not America. So obviously, like there's rules and regulations other places that they can enforce that kind of stuff. But can you imagine somebody just somebody sharing something that they believe in or saying something, and then you support it and you share it, and then you get arrested. They come and they spin kick your door open like the Kool-Aid Man, and they take you out of the house. And they, for just having an opinion using the free internet, well, not free, but pay for an internet connection, but using a platform to just share a social media on your own page. That's wild. That is really wild to me. And then, I heard that they also had made threats of coming here to the United States to come and take people like you and I, and process and extradited back overseas. Uh, yeah, I don't know too many people that would, in law enforcement that would actually come and try to even entertain that. This is America, so of course nothing's free here. We are technically the land of the free, but as time goes on, it's our freedoms are dwindling a little bit, I think.
Definitely, I'm on the same page with you on this one. It's wild to 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 even fathom that someone, and it's subjective too. Like it's like you share something, it might offend somebody, and it might not offend somebody else. For let's just say, like a popular thing to do nowadays, it's either to post something against Trump and to post something against Biden. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm listing both just because, again, we're talking about sharing something on your Twitter or on your Instagram or on your Facebook account, just because you saw the meme, you kind of agreed with it, or you thought it was funny, and you share it, and then a few days later you get 911, all in your business, and knocking, like you said, knocking your door down. You're getting handcuffed, and these situations can be dangerous. Like they can be coming in. You could be cooking, you could have a knife in your hand, and all of a sudden you're a threat. You see how fast it can escalate, all because you shared a meme or a tweet that subjectively, this, in this case, the UK deemed either offensive or against their law.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I am glad that I live in the United States, because we are far away from that, but I don't take it for granted, where I don't think it could happen here. Like,
yeah, good luck. I mean,
yeah, good. Yeah, that's what I'll say. Good luck for that happening. But people, think this way. You know what I mean? And people are people. People are willing to do things to stay in power. People are willing to stretch the truth on certain things. So I'm with you. I am glad that that's not happening here, but I definitely think this is wild.
Yeah, dude. It's a lot. But it's also not surprising. I really don't feel like it's that far off from where we're supposed to be chronologically in the scheme of things. When the movie Idiocracy came out back in the 90s, it was considered a comedy. And if you go back and watch the movie now, it's like a documentary.
Oh yeah.
A lot of that stuff isn't funny. It's actually happening. So
yeah.
It's
all right.
It's weird, man. Can you imagine 20 more years?
All right, so
where we're gonna be.
Let's share a next one, but yeah, that it's definitely wild. Next one here on the docket is the Social Security leak. I'll read it off. Just in, every American Social Security number may have been stolen in a new hack, with a $2.7 billion of these records allegedly stolen. Hacking group US DoD claims that they have stolen the 2.7 billion records of Americans' personal information. Oh, here we go. The data was allegedly stolen from data broker National Public Data. The broker offers personal information to employees, private investigators, and staffing agencies, for example. I don't know. My thought on this is, our social security numbers and personal data information, whoever holds this type of information, it needs to be like Fort Knox, like electronically.
Yeah.
Especially in the digital world that we are in today, our data, our personal information is worth a lot of money, especially
Yeah.
we know that in frauds, fraud is a big business thing. People talk about that it's billions and billions of dollars of insurance claims and losses to companies. It is a huge it's a huge deal. So I'm not sure if this is I'm not sure of this organization, if they're directly tied with the U.S. government, or if they're just an agency or whatnot. But nonetheless, this is a big L for that agency, and big repercussions should lead against it, because we need to know what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and from a security standpoint, make sure you're invested in like excuse me, some sort of identity theft program. Lock your credit down, lock your information down. Like you and I have the Experian app. I think I paid $40 a month for it, um, and I think that's $40 per person. But dude, like I can lock my credit score down. I can monitor everything that's happening. Um, I have it linked to my bank accounts so that I can make sure nothing happens. Like it's pretty nice to have that kind of layer of protection,
Yep.
because I've had fraud. Even just recently, I was on the couch watching TV and I got a text that said, "Please confirm your purchase. If you don't confirm within 30 minutes, we're gonna just assume that you meant to do that." And I was like, "That's fraud." So I let it go. 30 minutes later, I got an email from StubHub. Thank you for your purchase, and it was a playoff game 4 in New York or wherever it was, for $5,600 or something. They had 2 tickets. I don't even watch sports. I don't even have a StubHub account. They did a backdoor purchase, like a guest account with my email address. All my information got leaked somehow. It's probably on, just from regular day in, day out stuff. When you auto save stuff on your Google or whatever, like that's really probably not a great idea. Jumping on public networks that are just open. They don't have a password. Um, there's a company that I used to contract for that installs capturing information in the malls and in highly trafficked areas, airports. Doesn't matter. You ever been somewhere and all of a sudden you're on someone's private network and you're like, I didn't sign up for this. Well, it forces you into that VPN, and all your information goes into that too. And they say it's for logistics and stuff, and it's illegal as hell. But people do it, and people pay for it, and they want it. They use it for logistics. But really, I mean, our phones are like, everything. It's like the modern Whoopi. We have everything on our phone, from pictures to, you know, sensitive documents to emails to text messages to, you know, irreplaceable voicemails from a loved one. I mean, we have everything in these things. So, you know, you have to protect that. You have to protect it. You can't just rely on a face ID. You got to pay for some sort of service to protect yourself and lock it down.
Yeah, so I just wonder what's going to happen. I know that on the right side of the aisle, people are just obviously blaming Biden for this. This is Biden's America. This is what our security looks like.
I saw that.
But in reality, like, is this really his fault? I can't really throw shade when it just doesn't sound right either. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think some of those comments are just kind of like where we're at in society right now. We're election season right now. You know what I mean?
It's a they took a derb type moment.
Yeah,
where they took a job.
Yeah,
it's a coming right for us moment. It's any chance you get to bash the side you're not on. People will take it.
Yeah,
it's blood in the water. I can't blame the administration for a leak. People are just bad people.
Not unless they, cut budget and then they lowered security or something like that. Then but I can't even vet that. Why
can't there be good hackers? Like, why can't you break in and like make everybody debt free?
Well,
why can't there be like a superhero hacker where he's like,
we had the Edward
Goodman.
Well, we had the Edward Snowden, and the U.S. try to basically put him in jail and all that stuff. So
yeah.
So
yeah,
so I'm with you. I wish there were more people that would like either leak things that are for Americans, but I feel like if they do that, they either get unalived and or they get kind of like Edward Snowden. He's been in where's he's been where has he been? Ecuador or something like that for the last like I don't know 8 years,
long time,
almost a decade. I feel like
he showed up on a crypto.
Yep.
He showed up on like a video, obviously, where all these big key players were at, and and spoke there.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people didn't like him, but I don't know really why not. I mean, I guess I haven't really learned much about the guy.
Yeah, he's the one that released NSA documents, and chat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in the realm of that they were using the Patriot Act, to spy on American citizens without, going through the proper channels like court and all that stuff, and so NSA stuff. So
yeah,
all in the name of security. For your protection.
Yeah. Jeez.
And yeah. All right. So let's roll to the next. I'm liking this new system we have going here.
Yeah, we're like professionals.
All right. So I am going to share this here, and we'll listen to it, and we'll just kind of give our thoughts after the video.
Since Minnesota Governor Tim Walz has been chosen to be Harris's 2024 running mate, like his running mate, Vice President Harris, he's given no interviews. As an aside, and I know you know this, a democracy cannot endure without transparency from the elected leaders. CPAC Chairman Matt Schlapp joins me. Good evening, sir. And the irony of President Biden saying that he wanted to maintain democracy, that's why he wanted to run, and that's why you should vote Democrat is mine. Yet you've got his vice president is running for office. She won't do any interviews. Yet, on the other hand, though, her strategy is winning because she's inching up in the polls. And I'm trying to understand, what is Trump's strategy against that?
Well, I mean, what do you do when there's this collusion between most of the national news media and the Harris campaign to normalize this behavior? I mean, the only way you really could do this extraordinary, we've never really done this in history, Greta. Joe Biden steps down as the nominee. She's put in there. They haven't even had a Democratic convention yet, but there's this push to legitimize her in every way. And they know that if she gives interviews, she's going to slip up because that's what she did as vice president. Remember, she had some of the lowest numbers as vice president. The more she talks in the spontaneous way, the more she'll make errors. So like Joe Biden, she's got the same plan, which is fake it to make it. And I think it's terrible for this democracy they say they want to save.
All right. I'll let you take lead on this one. Thoughts?
Yeah.
A lot to unpack there.
That's a lot. Yeah. I mean, dude, I watch, I think both sides of the fence talk weird. I've heard Trump speak very well. I've heard him also speak like he's talking to like kindergartners. And I know it's done on purpose. I've also seen Harris do that where she's like, well, you see, you have this cloud and in the cloud, and we're like, dude, come on, man. Like, we're anyone paying attention to you knows who you are and wants to know a little bit about you. And you're kind of blowing it right now. Like, it's really interesting. There's a lot of people that I know that are flip-flopping super hard right now, which is kind of frustrating because before when Biden was the choice versus Trump, they were like, yeah, no, Biden's terrible. And then, they're like, yeah, I'm definitely going to vote for Trump. And now they're like, well, they're like, what do you mean? Well, you know what I mean?
Nothing's changed, really.
Yeah, nothing's changed. This person's been in office for 4 years already. Why hasn't there been any attempts? I get that they can't write legislation and vice presidents don't have the ability to sign into stuff, but you could be working on stuff. You could go to the border. You could go do real things. But you haven't, and you're already there. You already have the platform. You can voice your opinion when you have a soapbox like that to stand on. That's a pretty big soapbox, and you can say, these are my intentions. I can't actually write these into law yet. if I was vice president, I would be wanting to make sure everyone knew these are way out. This is what I'm trying to do. What is she trying to do? What does she do? You know what I mean? Besides crazy laugh and you know, explain things in a strange way, and then really there's no follow through. So I don't know. There's a lot there in that clip that I kind of just when I watch stuff like that.
I'll add that what's it been, like 3.5 weeks now since she kind of unofficially became the new primary candidate for the Democratic Party. And you know, there's no real interview. You know, Trump's been going one-on-ones with, you know, what was it yesterday with Elon Musk. And then he's been doing camera time with news folks, even though they're asking questions that he finds annoying, you know, like, you know, what do you think about, you know, Kamala Harris's crowd? And he's like, give me a break. Like, is that really a question you're asking right now? Like,
yeah,
like she hasn't had a real interview to be, you know, dissected.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it would be great to have a strong woman in leadership.
I think so too.
I think it would be cool to see. And I hope that in our lifetimes we can see that.
And I'll tell you, I know some really strong women that I know, especially in my field. Like they're there you go. Yo, my wife's strong and smart too. But what I'm talking about is just people that know their field. They know they know not saying politics, but they know how to run something. You know, they know how to talk to people. And I have somebody in mind. I won't say her name, but and I'll just give the example. We had a escalation at work.
Pamela Anderson.
No. I won't say her name, but she's super cool. She's super smart. And whenever something goes wrong with a company and I need somebody to support me and that knows process and procedures and can deliver that message in a amazing way where the customer responds like, oh, they're definitely supporting us.
Dude, women
like I know that it can be done. Yeah. But if I was to compare Kamala Harris with this one person, I would vote for this other person. Like, just because I have seen what she can do, what she can deliver, you know, she can connect with people in a personable way, but I know that she knows what she's talking about at the end of the day. Yeah. And I feel like all these theatrics and concerts that she's throwing and, you know, dancing, these are all gimmicks. Like, are we here to be entertained or are we here to be led?
We drove by the stadium and there was no one there. I swear that crowd there were sniper towers everywhere, all over the stadium, but there was no cars in the parking lot unless they all parked on the east side, which they, you know, they fill up the west side.
Yeah, that they got bussed in.
Yeah. And so, in the way that they smoke and mirrored that whole thing, it looked like she came to town and, you know, there was supposed to be a big thing. It was a concert she just popped in on. You know, it's a cameo at that point.
Yep, and I saw somebody said a really good a really good, you know, comment, and they said these are rallies, they're not interviews. You know, she's up there, hi and hello, waving, and then she gives her, you know, one line hits, you know, towards Trump, you know, or towards who, you know, the MAGA folk or whatever, and that's all she has. She hasn't talked policy other than what she took from Trump about, you know, taking the not charging taxes on tips. You know, I think that was just sloppy in her part. You know,
well, these debates that are coming up, I think there's 3.
Supposedly there's 3. Supposedly there's going to be 3. Who knows? But
it's there. It's going to be, man. We should have a watch party.
I mean,
we should do a live watch party.
I mean, I think we can pull that off now with the way we have our technology working for us. But yeah, we should do that. We should comment and give, you know, live feedback because, man, like we need to acknowledge who is here to work for us, not just trying to get the title of the position.
Yeah. It's just like, when I was studying for these tests, but I'll admit, like, I just needed to take the test and pass the test. The test was made by test takers. They don't even know my trade. So I had to play the game to pass the test. And so I feel like politicians do that too. I feel like they say what they have to do and do what they have to, to make it appealing to the most people. And sometimes the scales get weighted. Trump came out with some stuff that maybe wouldn't appeal towards the LGBTQ community, and so it was a little bit awkward, and there's so many things to be said about that statement. I don't think that, to touch lightly on that, I don't think that somebody that's been struggling with um, gender and stuff, gender issues and stuff like that, and that's on medicine to help them feel better, that they can be stripped from that. You can't just rip people's medicine away from them, no matter what it is. Those people should be grandfathered in, and that's just my personal opinion. And then, of course, if you want to implement new law, then that's fine. But you're going to kill people. People are going to kill themselves if you do that. So that was kind of distasteful, in my opinion, because I know people that go through this type of treatment. And they're good people. They're really good people. They're not in the woke media. They're not of that world at all. But these are the way that they feel about themselves. So that is kind of like interesting to me. And that was like one of those things. It was a little bit like, oh, you just kind of turned a lot of people off, and hopefully that gets fixed, but you never know. And then you have, Kamala, that's just like from San Francisco, completely loose with all her ideas. And, of course, that's going to weigh the scales on her direction. So they're going to say and do what they want to say. The Bible Belt, where it's like, yeah, man, you know what I mean? But also that's kind of cruel, right? You don't wish harm on people that are just trying to live their lives. So, yeah, that was a little sidestep there. But like I said, I think they say and do what they have to say to try to win. And they both come off as kind of disingenuous sometimes, I think. But yeah, that's
Gotcha.
That's my 4 cents on that.
For sure. But just to kind of tie it down, I think we haven't seen Kamala Harris be challenged at all. Like
that's gonna be great. Oh, I can't wait to watch that.
And that's the problem that I have, especially with her taking over, Biden being dropped. It all looks shady already, and and it's crazy how MSNBC, NBC, all the CNN, for the most part, they're all propping her up. She's like this amazing VP, and it's just all weird, like we like do we not have eyes and ears to see and hear? You know what I mean? Like, do our eyes actually deceive us nowadays? I feel like that it's gaslighting to the next levels. Like, you see her eat one chip and then they say, nah, she didn't eat a chip. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that was a chip.
Like it's that type of gaslighting that's happening so much, and I hate the word gaslight just because it sounds like
it's a very used word.
Yeah, and it's like that. Oh, I'm so livid. I hate that word too.
Well, you know why? It's because people like the word toxic, gaslight, mansplaining. It all kind of has a negative energy to it. But in reality, like passive aggressiveness and things of that nature have been around for a long time, manipulating people into, feeling, doing, and saying things that they may not agree with. And like the whole Overton window thing that shifts, and you're like, yeah, of course, this is how I feel now. I've seen people get manipulated in relationships and work. Used car salesmen do it every day of their life. That's probably why I really try to stay away from that type of a feeling, because it doesn't feel good.
Yeah,
you can feel it coming. It's like, you are gonna slime me to death until I cave or just go away.
Yeah, like, so just to, again, tie it off. I haven't seen her getting challenged, and I'm actually looking forward, if they are debates going to be doing. I definitely want them. and both sides of the aisle, Fox and CNN and NBC, whatever they're going to be.
Mhm.
They should, at the end of the day, they should not feel comfortable in the setting that they're in, especially if they're running for president of the United States.
Yeah.
All right.
I saw something pop up that I was going to bring up about something happened where I think when Kamala was here in town,
Mhm.
they had to check all your IDs to make sure who you say you were, but yet we're not required to show ID to vote in November. And I was like, so I got to show you my ID to come see you at your thing, but I don't have to show ID to vote? That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
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 So
Too much common sense right there, bro.
Yeah.
It's too much
Yeah.
common sense. It'll
Yeah.
break the system. You don't want to do that.
Yeah. Oh, unreal.
I'm with you.
Great grandpa that died in 1897's got to vote too.
Yep, exactly. All right, so this one's a somewhat of a fun one. I'm not sure if you saw this girl dance at the Olympics. I think she's famous at this point, but she is the breakdancer that you see all over Instagram right now, on YouTube.
Dude, Rachel Dratch did a crazy impression of her on Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, I did.
Funny, man. Yeah.
So basically allegations have surfaced stating that Dr. Rachel Gunn, aka Ray Gunn, I guess that's her breakdancer name,
Yeah, boy.
manipulated the qualifier by setting up her own governing body, denying grants to underprivileged performers, and allowing her husband to coach the national team. Australians have started a petition. All right. So I'm just going to say from the beginning, I think every country should have sent their own Jabberwocky. You know what I mean, team? Like as a baseline, there's a lot of street performers. I'm not sure if you ever gone to Las Vegas or San Francisco or in the streets of LA or at the beach. There are street performers that actually do this stuff for a living, not this. I'll say it, this embarrassment of what they call dancing and like break dancing, and it was horrible. I mean, funny to watch. I'm not gonna lie. It was funny to watch. It was entertaining, but I just saw an article today that they're not going to include this breakdancing, hip hop or whatever breakdance in the 2028 Olympics.
She's the reason. She is responsible for that. I was reading about her. She's a professional dancer.
Okay.
She has a degree in researching in dance. She does contemporary music, cultural studies at I think it's the Macquarie University, and she's had ongoing university studying into graduate school. She's received a doctorate in media, music, communications, and cultural studies. So she's not. Oh, she said. She's focusing primarily on her research in cultural politics of breaking. So basically, she's going into like the old days, and that's what she was trying to portray. Man, when I was a kid, we break dance all the time. We watched breaking 1, breaking 2.
I mean, I remember in grade school, a kid would bring down a box and we were, breakdancing on there doing head spins and,
the movie Wild Style. We were like, we watched Wild Style. We would learn all the moves, turbo and all that stuff. And we even had names for ourselves, Top Rocker, and I think it was Body Rocker.
Yeah.
Man. We were like into it. And we could have taken her. You know what I mean? We were just goofy kids, but we were about it, man. We lived it. But it's man, it felt like watching somebody that has spatial awareness or in their body, like they're not sure where the limits are of their movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so it might have felt really smooth and awesome. You ever watch yourself back on a camera and you're like, dang, I thought I watched a karate tournament one time, and man, I felt like Bruce Lee. I was sparring no, I was fighting in a tournament, a 7th grade black belt in my class, and I did end up winning. But man, I felt like I was flowing, dude. I was in it, doing all the things, just scoring points. And I watched the video back, and I was like, I felt like I don't know. I feel like a caveman, you know. I feel like a stiff.
It's what they say as a musician. Get, you know, in your body in that moment, you're giving it 100%, but you need to give that extra 25% in the movement. Like if you're playing a riff, you know, and you're a guitarist, you know, and you're playing, you're jamming, you're in the zone, give it another 25% with attitude. You know what I mean?
Hit him with that Corey Feldman.
Yeah,
that could be a 10th topic, honestly. You gotta hit him with it.
He's here on Friday.
Dude, we should go.
He's here.
We should bring like things to our stage. We should go.
He's here on Friday with Limp Bizkit, so he's opening up.
Oh, they coming to town?
Yeah, it's too hot to be in that amphitheater, man. Like,
I have so many concerts coming up. Like, my wife went nuts. I have like 4 concerts next week to go to. Stone Temple Pilots.
Heck yeah.
There's which I'm really excited about, even though it's not quite the same. Huge. I have that second bass right there. That's a Rob DeLeo from Stone Temple Pilots signature series. But you know, I love that band. But she booked like 3 other concerts, man. So we're big avid concert goers. But
yeah.
A couple of them are outside, which I'm used to being outside with work. She's gonna probably regret it.
Yeah, I don't anything or before late October, November, I don't like doing outside.
No. All the good shows are come through here are usually outside.
Yeah.
All
right.
I think.
All right, let's hit another one here.
Corey Feldman.
Here's the next one.
True Lost Boy, right there.
Since Minnesota Governor.
Oh, there's old Ray Gun.
Here we go. So,
you know, he means business when he's standing behind 2 semis or in front of 2 semis. That's America as it gets right there.
Here we go. So, I'm going to read this here, or I'll let JD Vance give his 2 cents here. Here it goes.
Sir. New York Times, I wanted to ask you about the latest economic news from this morning with inflation now being under 3%, the lowest rate since mid-2021. What is your sort of reaction to that news?
Well, I think the crowd reaction says it all. Look, when they say that inflation is down, they mean from a baseline where groceries are already 30% more expensive than they were when Donald Trump was president. And they're not saying it's coming down. They're just saying it's not going up as fast as it was 3 years ago. That is not a reputation or a record to brag on. That's a record to be ashamed of. Why did it take them so long to get inflation to where it is, and why are prices so high? It's because Kamala Harris failed to do her job. So if they want to go around, and this is, you know, it's funny. Kamala Harris, on the one hand, will say, on day one, we're going to tackle the affordability crisis. And like I said earlier, Kamala Harris has been the vice president for 3.5 years. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, she's in effect been the acting president, because we all know Joe Biden isn't home. So she's been the one controlling government policy for 3.5 years. She says she wants to tackle the affordability crisis on day one. And then on the other hand, she'll say, oh, we've already got inflation under control. Well, which is it, Kamala? Which is it? The simple truth is America's credit card debt is getting higher. Americans are finding the basic necessities, the middle class life, less affordable. Americans are becoming, especially young people, are becoming paupers in their own country. If we don't do better, our young generation, they're not going to own anything. They're not going to have anything. They're going to be renters in the country that their parents and grandparents built. Inflation is a disaster. Kamala Harris does not have a leg to stand on.
Tough battle of vice presidents there. He's very direct.
Definitely.
Very powerful. Very, very, very logical. Very much like, I don't know, he's kind of like Donald Trump Jr., you know, but not as wild with his statements.
Definitely. And I'll just start with the inflation, acknowledging inflation. Ladies and gentlemen, inflation's real. It's happening. it is very expensive to do what we were doing 4 years ago. If we compare our finances 4 years ago to what we're doing today, we're paying more on electricity, on natural gas. We're paying on auto parts. We're paying a lot more on food. Did I say gas or like gasoline? We're paying our fuel for our cars, electricity to pay for your electric vehicles. All that stuff has gone up through the roof. Our current administration has let inflation go rampant. So year one, it went up, inflation went up, and then year two, inflation went up based off of the last year's inflation. So that 3 to 9% that was reported the next year is another 3 to 9% from the prior year. So we are on a high incline of inflation. Yeah, it was reported I believe, this Monday that inflation was at 3% and some change. It's under control, but guys, we're like at a 20% inflation right now combined over the last 3.5 years. We're not in a good spot. So our dollar, if we were to think about it, is 80 cents from 3.5 years ago. That's just
I used to joke with my brother-in-law all the time. They live in Canada, and he would tell me what something costs in Canada, and I'd be like, "What is that? Like 30 cents American?" And now it's completely the opposite.
Yeah,
I feel like it's like saying, well, gas used to be $6 a gallon here, which is true, and I have a 38-gallon gas tank in my truck, but at least now with the election coming, it's down to like $3.98 a gallon right now.
But when
that's being okay with it. But I said it that way, like to try to justify it. It still sucks.
Our strategic reserve is depleted. They keep taking oil from that reserve, which is meant for emergencies and war, and they're dumping it into our market to artificially lower that price. It's funny how people say, it's when Biden took over, they're like gas prices started going up and all that stuff, and everybody's like, the president doesn't control gas prices. Well, he's doing it right now, guys. If you guys don't know and living under a rock for the last few years, him dumping gas from the reserve into the market artificially lowers gas prices. So he does have some type of control to our gas pricing. But JD Vance is obviously saying Kamala Harris owns this, and I agree with him. She's right hand lady of Joe Biden. She's supposed to be in the room with him every single time they make decisions and all that stuff. I get it. Joe Biden can do whatever he wants, but it's a reflection of both of them. You know what I mean? So I don't know. What do you think?
No, I mean, I agree, man. It's smoke and mirrors, and we're just supposed to accept it. And guys like us are just we know better. But I mean, honestly, until they decide how they're going to go about making it better, whoever it is. I mean, at what tipping point? Like, let's just say Trump loses. At what point do they really have to go back and start fixing this stuff that's broken?
Right. That's a good question. That's a good question.
What point? Let's just say, like, I know it sounds like Trump has every intention of trying to fix things, but even if he gets into office, do you think it's not a magic button? It's going to take years to fix a little bit of things. It's like eating a salad from Salad and Go. Feel like you've been eating it for 5 years.
It will definitely take years for pricing to get down, but there are things that markets adjust to, and if there is a positive leader in office that's willing to do changes and open up regulation, he talks about drilling all the time. If there's positive, things happening in the market, it does help, companies, ease back on pricing. Because right now, everybody's like, we got to charge we got to make our money right now.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But
I think Stonewall facing it's my wife was telling me a story about when she was a kid. She broke her arm at school or coming home from school. And her mom, she was a latchkey kid, and some of the neighbors saw her with a broken arm. And so they're like, "Oh, why don't you come in? We'll come in and we'll call your mom." They were chill, they were cool. They put a cold compress or washcloth on her, and called the mom. Said, "Hey," and downplayed it to the mom. "Hey, we think your kid's got probably something going on with the wrist. Fell off her bike." And so downplayed it there too. My wife's cool, chilling. She's just waiting for her mom. Well, hours go by. Her mom finally shows up from work and sees the broken wrist and just falls apart. And then all of a sudden, she falls apart. My wife falls apart because now she sees someone that she, is like upset that she, takes care of her. And it made things worse. Same thing with if we saw panic from Trump or we saw panic from Biden, you start doubting him. Look at the health deteriorating. You can tell he can't climb a flight of stairs. You can tell he gets lost on stage. You can tell people are telling him what to say in his ear. You start to have that. Well, everything's fine, but it's not fine now. Like you're just old dude, and that's fine. Go be an old dude, but don't run the country. Nobody has faith in that. And then you get a fresh face that seems to be peppy, and you get like that shiny object syndrome where you're like, ooh, something shiny and new that's not Trump. And that's what people focus on. They have no idea what they're really excited about. It's just that there's a lot of not Trumpers or anyone but Trumper out there. And I really urge them to do some research. Yeah, he's not for everybody, but if you look at the logistics of what he wants for the country, I mean,
that includes everybody that doubts in him. That's that's a thing too.
I know, like people can say, their businesses as a business owner, people can say, yeah, my business was better 4 years ago, but really, like you're in charge of your own clientele. You're in charge of your destiny of customers, right? Like, so if you are struggling now, then pivot and figure out how to get those customers. It's not really because no strategy is perfect. No strategy is going to last you a lifetime. Once you figure something out, do it. The same thing in karate. If it works, keep doing it until it doesn't. Keep scoring points until you can't. That person goes, oh, that guy's going to tap me on the side of the head and get another 2 points. So I'm going to block it this time. Same thing in life and same thing in business. If it's not working for you, pivot a little bit, figure it out, and try different avenues. I'm doing my business right now. Our business is in a stall from the commercial world, but that's also because we were using other channels to go through, and those people got out of the game. So we had to establish our own. So that's what we're doing. It's fine. It's just you got to do what you got to do, And so you're ultimately in charge of your business and your success, whether there's an economy crisis or not. If the internet cut off right now and everybody had to survive and go into walkie-talkie mode and go find food in the desert, go find food in the mountains, you have to survive. So you have to change the comforts of being in air conditioning. You have to change being able to hang out with your buddies on a Wednesday night on high definition cameras. You have to put on a new face. You got to go out there and you got to make it happen. Your people are counting on you. And at that point, that's a survival ship. So is business. So you can blame the economy. Yeah, it does suck. Inflation is terrible. But we have to just move. We can't fix it right now. We could just have to pivot. Have to change.
What I think JD Vance was saying, right now, the administration that's in charge is Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they're selling, or Kamala Harris is selling, hey, vote for me, put me in, and I'll fix it. Lady, she's in. You know what I mean?
There, dude. Yeah, you've been there.
Like she's been there. And I hate the word suffering, but we're not doing as great as a country as a whole. And it's obvious. Again, we're spending more money to maintain the same lifestyle we had 4 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago. You know,
I challenge people that, food prep or they buy the same things, find an old Costco bill. When people usually go to Costco for,
look at
their
that.
meats and their proteins and stuff. Look at that bill from last year, a few years ago. If you bought, a pack of tri-tips or you bought
The toilet paper, look at it. It's like $19.99 for
yeah.
the Kirkland brand, where it used to be literally like $13.99, 4 years ago. Literally, we were paying for that big package $14-15. Now it's $20.
You used to be able to get like 10 items for $100.
Yeah.
And then the times you did get out of the Costco under $100, your membership is due.
Mm-hmm.
So you really never win. But now when you go and you buy stuff, I don't even look because I'm just like, just pay for it. We need it. And sometimes I'll glance and I'm like, oh, that was $500 for basically nothing that you can even make a meal out of. They're just things we needed for the house, things, we need to replenish supplies and stuff. I don't know how people make it that aren't in business for themselves. I really don't. I don't think being with my wife working or not working and taking care of the family, the dogs, her mother, her father, she has a full-time job. If I had to work an hourly job, which I would, if I had to, I don't know how I would make it work because
no, it's tough. It's tough out there. I'll give you the example. My mother-in-law and father-in-law, they're both retired. They get a fixed income from Social Security. And my father-in-law did have a pension through one of his companies that he retired from. But I'm trying to think numbers. I do their taxes, so I'll just give like a flat number. They probably bring in like $2,000 for the month.
Oh wow.
They got
very fixed income.
Very fixed income. They got to pay their mortgage. Thank God that they bought their house, almost 30 years ago. So they're almost done paying off the house. So they got to pay their mortgage. They got to pay their auto insurance. They got to pay their electricity, their water bill. By the end of the day, especially with all these price hikes in electricity, what is it right now per kilowatt? It's like 16 per kilowatt. It went up.
Dude,
It's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Everybody got hit. I have a 19 kilowatt solar panel or system on my roof.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I pay $25 a month for the connect fee, the APS. But last month, my bill was almost $500.
With solar, that's with solar.
19 kilowatts. Dude.
Holy smokes, dude!
My whole roof on both sides is. I think I have 89 panels on my roof. I think almost 90 panels, and 2 inverters. So it's not like I went as maximum as I could.
Yeah.
My air conditioners don't shut off at night, so it's just been hot, and so haven't figured out how to make solar work at night yet. I wish we could figure that out. Maybe, put a giant flashlight up there or something.
Yeah. So I mean, my family, like my mother-in-law and father-in-law, they're definitely fixed. Like there's no additional income coming other than when we help them out. They take care of the kids. We do our thing for them and all that stuff. But
the electric companies are kind of like thugs. Like they raised the rent, without telling people. And when I called in to go over, I was like, hey, last year, I mean, my bill usually does go into a couple $100 a month in the summertime because it doesn't stop. She's like, oh yeah, there's been a rate hike, across the board there. And she's like, well, the good news is we're not shutting people off for non-payment. And I was like, yeah, but the goal is to not be behind. This isn't a credit card where you make payments. Like you should just pay your bill and then you pay your bill next month. And it's done. Like 1 month's this price, next month, and you're done. So you're saying like this month, dude, like I bet my bill is going to be, because I run out of credits, my bill will probably come in about $700 or $800. And nothing's changed. We don't keep the house that cold. It's 76 or something like that. 2 air conditioners. And there's a lot of electronics here. We have like 5 refrigerators and deep freezes, and I got a refrigerator on the porch for the delivery service people. But I mean, it's not a lot of electricity. It's the air conditioners. They're 20 years old. They don't shut off in the summer.
Yeah.
So that'll probably be my next upgrade by the next summer, is to hopefully get both air conditioners replaced and variable speed fans and stuff like that, more efficient,
Yeah.
bigger sears and stuff. But yeah, it's a ripoff, man. It sucks.
I mean,
I look forward to it.
I mean, it's just one of those that just adds to, like, inflation's real. You and I, you know, are paying our electricity bill, where last year for me it was like a $300 bill peak season. Right now we're in the high 400s, close to $500 range, which it's a lot for us because we're not used to paying that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like for people that are in fixed incomes, you know, it's a problem because they literally cannot come up with the extra money. Yeah. Yeah. They could probably do side jobs and hustle this, but now, you know, you have, you know, anytime you make money, it needs to be reported, you know, to the IRS, thanks to, you know, the 87,000 people that Joe Biden appointed to the IRS. So,
oh, even insurance.
Don't even get me on insurance. I'm in the insurance world, you know.
Yeah.
You know, insurance companies need to make money, obviously, to keep the whole pool of you know, customers and pay the bills and all that stuff. You know, auto insurance.
You should see my rate. I should show for the man. It's like, it just came out too. It was like $440 or something like that.
That's the normal nowadays. You know, people paying $4,000
was higher.
$4,000, $5,000, $6,000 yearly rates. Like, that's becoming the norm. You know, it's because, you know, the cost to repair a vehicle is going up. Vehicles are getting expensive. You know, what the last truck that you probably purchased, you know, what was it, a $50,000-$60,000 truck? Back when, you know, 10 years ago, that was a $40,000 truck. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I have a 2024 Tundra Platinum, and then my wife drives a QX80.
So it's the newer vehicles are sensors here, automatic this, electronic
They'll
here.
tell you that too. They're like, oh, there's more stuff to break, so your insurance is more expensive. I'm like, that's why I have insurance though, and like, it's a dealer issue. It's a new vehicle, so it's under warranty. You know, so why are you charging me for it to get fixed if it's under warranty?
Well,
you know, so it's a rip off, man.
Yeah, so I mean, inflation's real. It's not going to be overnight if Trump wins and gets in, but I will say that good policy is going to help out.
Oh, yeah.
Right now we don't have good policy, we don't have good leadership. We don't even have clear direction on who's in charge and calling the shots right now. So that doesn't help. Companies are hunkering down, and they're real.
Well, Biden is still in office.
Oh yeah, he's there.
Have you seen him?
No.
You know what I mean? He's gone.
No, he's checked out.
He's AI now. AI Biden.
He's uploaded. But
yeah, he's in the cloud.
But I think that is our time.
Yes.
Wow, this time flew by, just because we definitely brought up topics that not normally that we wouldn't talk about, but we pre-planned it a little bit. But because we're trying to stay relevant, we're trying to keep get the engagement going. If you've watched this whole episode, you know, let us know down below, like, what you thought. What should we continue doing the Twitter posts and reading them off, or watching the videos and reacting to them? This is new to us. But if you like the content, you know, we invite you to hit that subscribe button so that you can find us, you know, the next time we post. Brian?
Yeah, definitely. You guys, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to our channel. It means a lot to us. It kind of just lets you know, lets us know that you're listening, and that you're there. And it's not like we bother you or get on your. We're not going to send you, you know, fruitcakes at Christmas but we just appreciate having you guys here listening to us. And you know, I get text messages and calls and stuff from friends and stuff that catch the podcast, and it makes you feel good, man, because you never really, you know, I listen to people do this all the time, and I never know how the podcast is going to go, or what kind of mood we're going to be in, or what we're going to talk about, really, unless it's like right before we start, here's a couple things I want to talk about. Gets the brain kind of thinking about it. I'm not even a political dude, I'm really not that into politics. But I can't help but in the times we live in, pay attention, and especially when I feel like there's the ops are after us, man. I feel like there's so many opportunities to be missed if you don't keep your eyes open. Um, with that said, too, make sure you guys are practicing being kind to each other, being kind on the internet, being kind to your families and stuff. Life is tough. Inflation's high. Tensions can be, finances can be stressful and cause a problem in your life. But soldier on. Uh, we all going through it. You're not alone. We all understand. But you have to learn how to pivot in your life and drive on. You're a man or a woman and you're responsible for people, then do that. Take pride in that and do what you gotta do. But we thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you in a week on this format and then a couple weeks on the live format. So thanks again, you guys. Be kind for no reason. Have a good night.
Have a good night.